Victoria Hamilton stepped out of her sedan with an umbrella, seemingly unbothered by the rain that had been Jennifer's tormentor all evening. She was elegantly dressed in a tailored coat and expensive shoes, but there was nothing pretentious about her manner as she approached the bus stop. Jennifer noticed that Victoria moved with the confidence of someone who was used to being in control. Yet her eyes held a warmth that seemed genuine. "Please," Victoria said, holding the umbrella. "Over Jennifer and Emma, at least let me drive you somewhere dry. There's a 24-hour diner, just a few blocks away. You both look like you could use a warm meal and a place to sit for a while." Jennifer's pride warred with her desperation. She had been refusing help from strangers for weeks, determined to solve their problems on her own. But Emma shivered in. Her arms and the little girl's lips had taken on a slightly blue tint that made Jennifer's heart race with worry. "I don't have money for a restaurant," Jennifer admitted quietly, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Victoria's smile was understanding, rather than pitying. "I didn't ask if you had money. I asked if you'd like a warm meal. There's a difference." She gestured toward her car. "Please, I have a daughter too. If she were in your situation, I would hope someone would show her the same kindness." Something in Victoria's tone convinced Jennifer to accept. She allowed Victoria to help her and Emma into the warm car, where the leather seats felt like luxury after months of sleeping on cardboard and concrete. Emma immediately perked up in the warmth, and Jennifer felt some of the tension leave her shoulders for the first time in days as they drove through the quiet streets.
Ow.
Victoria asked gentle questions about their situation. Jennifer found herself telling this stranger more than she had told anyone in months. There was something about Victoria's presence that invited honesty, as if she had heard difficult stories before and wouldn't judge whatever Jennifer shared. The diner was nearly empty. When they arrived, just a few late-night workers and insomniacs scattered across the booths. Victoria chose a corner table where they could speak privately, and immediately ordered hot chocolate for Emma and coffee for herself and Jennifer. When the waitress brought menus, Victoria ordered a full meal for all three of them without asking what Jennifer wanted. "I hope you don't mind," Victoria said as the waitress walked away. "I have a tendency to take charge when I see someone in need. It's a habit from my work." She paused and studied Jennifer's face carefully. "May I ask how long you and Emma have been homeless?" Jennifer's hands wrapped around her coffee mug, absorbing the warmth. 3 weeks, she admitted. We had been staying in different places, but tonight was the first night we didn't have anywhere to go. Victoria nodded thoughtfully. "And Emma's father?" "He's not in the picture," Jennifer said firmly. "It's just me and Emma now." Emma, who had been quietly sipping her hot chocolate, looked up at Victoria with curious eyes. "Are you a princess?" she asked suddenly, making both women smile. Victoria laughed, a sound that filled the diner with unexpected joy. "Not exactly, sweetheart, but I do try to help people when I can." She turned back to Jennifer. "I'm going to make you an offer, and I want you to hear me out completely before you respond." Jennifer felt her heart rate increase. She had learned to be suspicious of offers that seemed too good to be true, especially from strangers. "A large house about 30 minutes outside the city," Victoria continued. "It has a guest wing that's been empty for years. I'd like to offer it to you and Emma rent-free, for as long as you need it. In exchange, I could use some help with household management and my personal projects." Jennifer stared at Victoria in shock. "I don't understand. You don't even know me. How do you know I'm not dangerous or dishonest?" Victoria's smile was knowing. "I've been watching you for the past 20 minutes. You gave your jacket to your daughter, even though you were freezing. You tried to maintain your dignity, even when you were desperate. You're polite to the waitress, even though you're exhausted. Those aren't the actions of someone I need to be afraid of." The food arrived, and Emma's eyes widened at the sight of a full plate of pancakes with strawberries and whipped cream.
Jennifer
Felt tears prick her eyes as she watched her daughter eat with the enthusiasm of a child who had been too hungry for too long. "Why would you do this for strangers?" Jennifer asked quietly. Victoria was quiet for a moment, her expression growing distant. "Because 25 years ago, I was in a very similar situation. A stranger helped me when I needed it most, and that kindness changed the entire course of my life. I've never forgotten that feeling of having someone believe in me when I couldn't." Believe in myself. Jennifer felt a tear roll down her cheek. I don't know what to say. Say you'll consider it, Victoria replied. I'm not asking for an answer tonight, but I am asking you to believe that sometimes good things can happen to good people. The morning sun streamed through the windows of Victoria's guest house as Jennifer woke up in an actual bed for the first time in weeks. For a moment, she forgot where she was, panic rising in her chest as she reached for Emma. Then she remembered the events of the previous night and felt her daughter's warm body curled up beside her in the king-sized bed. Victoria's estate was even more impressive, daylight than it had been in the darkness. The guest house was larger than any apartment Jennifer had ever lived in, with a full kitchen, living room, and 2 bedrooms. Victoria had insisted they stay the night, even though Jennifer had been hesitant to accept such generosity from someone she barely knew. Emma stirred and opened her eyes, immediately sitting up with excitement. Mommy, look at all the pretty things. She pointed to the window where she could see gardens, a fountain, and what appeared to be a small playground in the distance. A soft knock at the door interrupted Jennifer's thoughts. Victoria's voice called, Out. Good morning. I brought coffee and breakfast if you're interested. Jennifer opened the door to find Victoria holding a tray laden with fresh fruit, pastries, and steaming coffee. She was dressed casually in jeans and a sweater, looking more approachable than she had in her business attire the night before. Did you sleep well? Victoria asked, as she set the tray on the kitchen counter. Better than we have in months, Jennifer admitted. But I still don't understand why you're doing this. Victoria poured coffee for both of them and handed Emma a glass of orange juice. Come with me. I want to show you something. They walked through the main house, which was elegantly decorated but felt warm and lived in rather than intimidating. Victoria led them to a home office lined with bookshelves and awards. On the desk sat a framed photograph of a much younger Victoria with a small girl who looked remarkably like Emma. This is my daughter Carolyn, Victoria said, picking up the photograph. She's 28 now, a successful doctor in Seattle. But when she was Emma's age, we were living in a women's shelter downtown. Jennifer's eyes widened in surprise. This wealthy, confident woman had once been in her exact situation. Victoria continued. I had left an abusive marriage with nothing but the clothes on our backs. Caroline's father had convinced me I was worthless, that I couldn't survive without him. For months, I believed him. I worked minimum wage jobs and could barely afford childcare, let alone rent on an apartment. Emma had wandered over to look at the bookshelves, running her fingers along the spines of colorful children's books. One day I was waiting tables at a small restaurant when a woman came in alone. She was obviously wealthy, well-dressed, confident. She watched me work for several days, always requesting my section. Finally, she asked to speak with me after my shift. Victoria sat down behind her desk, gesturing for Jennifer to take the chair across from her. Her name was Eleanor Blackstone, and she owned a chain of successful restaurants. She offered me a position as a restaurant manager, with training and a salary that would allow me to support Caroline properly. More than that, she became a mentor, teaching me about business and helping me understand my own worth. Jennifer felt a chill of recognition. She saw something in you that you couldn't see in yourself. Exactly, Victoria nodded. Earth. Under Eleanor's guidance, I eventually started my own catering business. Within 10 years, I had built it into a multi-million-dollar company. I sold it 5 years ago, and now I spend my time investing in other people's dreams. Jennifer looked around the office, taking in the success that surrounded her. And now, you want to help me the same way Eleanor helped you? I want to give you the same chance I was given, Victoria corrected. What you do with that chance is entirely up to you. Emma had found a toy box in the corner of the room and was happily playing with a set of building blocks. Watching her daughter play without worry or fear, Jennifer felt something shift inside her chest. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to hope. What kind of help would you need from me? Jennifer asked. Victoria smiled, recognizing the question as acceptance. I host a lot of charity events and business meetings. I could use someone to help with event planning, correspondence, and general organization. It's not glamorous work, but it would give you experience in business operations and event management. I don't have any experience with that kind of work, Jennifer said uncertainly. Neither did I. when Eleanor first hired me, Victoria replied. But I had something more important than experience. I had the determination to create a better life for my daughter. I see that same determination in you. Jennifer felt tears building in her eyes again. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me, Victoria said firmly. You just need to believe in yourself the way someone once believed in me. The rest will follow. Emma looked up from her toys with a big smile. Mommy, can we stay here? This lady has the best toys. Both women laughed, and Jennifer felt a lightness in her chest that she hadn't experienced in months. Yes, baby, I think we can stay here. As Victoria showed them around the rest of the house, Jennifer began to envision a different future for herself and Emma, a future where they were safe, where Emma could play without fear, where Jennifer could build skills and confidence instead of just surviving day by day. The transformation had begun, and Jennifer was ready to embrace it. 6 months later, Jennifer stood in Victoria's main office, confidently presenting the final details for a charity gala that would raise money for homeless families. The transformation in her appearance and demeanor was remarkable. Her hair was professionally styled, she wore a tailored business suit, and she spoke with the authority of someone who had found her place in the world. The caterers will arrive at 4 p.m., Jennifer explained to the small group of volunteers gathered around the conference table. The musicians will set up by 5, and guests should begin arriving at 6:30. We have confirmed attendance from over 300 people, including the mayor and several prominent business leaders. Victoria watched from the doorway with pride, remembering the frightened woman she had found at the bus stop half a year ago. Jennifer had thrown herself into learning every aspect of event planning and business management, staying up late too, study and asking thoughtful questions about every task she was given. Emma had thrived as well. She was now enrolled in a prestigious private school. She was excelling in her studies and had made several close friends. The playground Jennifer had seen on her first morning had become Emma's favorite place, and she often brought her new friends home for playdates that filled the house with laughter. After the meeting ended and the volunteers left, Victoria approached Jennifer with a serious expression. We need to talk, she said, gesturing toward her private office. Jennifer felt a familiar flutter of anxiety. Even after months of success, she still sometimes worried that this new life was too good to be true, that Victoria might change her. Mind about helping them? Is everything all right? Jennifer asked, as they settled into the comfortable chairs by Victoria's fireplace. Victoria smiled, but Jennifer could see something important in her expression. More than all right. I've been watching you work these past 6 months, and I'm consistently impressed by your natural abilities. You have an intuitive understanding of what people need, and you're able to organize complex events with remarkable efficiency. Jennifer felt a flush of pride, but she waited for Victoria to continue. I've been thinking about my next project, Victoria said. I want to start a foundation that helps women transition from homelessness to independence. It's not just temporary shelter, but real support that includes job training, childcare, and mentorship programs. The idea excited Jennifer immediately. Sounds incredible. How can I help? Victoria's smile widened. I don't want you to help with it, Jennifer. I want you to run it. Jennifer's mouth fell open in shock. What do you mean? I want you to be the executive director of the Hamilton Foundation for Women's Independence. You would be in charge of developing programs, hiring staff, and working with other organizations to create a comprehensive support system for women in situations like you were in. Jennifer felt dizzy with the magnitude of what Victoria was proposing. I don't have the education or experience for something like that. You have something better, Victoria said firmly. You have lived experience. You understand exactly what these women are going through because you've been there yourself. You know what kind of help is actually useful and what feels condescending or impractical. Jennifer stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the gardens where Emma was playing with her new friends. The little girl was laughing and running, completely carefree in a way that would have been impossible 6 months ago. I would need to go back to school, Jennifer said thoughtfully. Learn about nonprofit management, social work, fundraising. Absolutely, Victoria agreed. I've already spoken with the local university. They have an accelerated program for nonprofit leadership that you could complete in 18 months.
Oh.
The foundation would pay for your education and provide a salary while you're studying. Jennifer turned back to face Victoria, feeling overwhelmed by the generosity and faith this woman continued to show in her. Why me? You could hire someone with years of experience. Victoria joined her at the window, because experience without understanding is just theory. You've lived through the fear, the desperation, the feeling of being invisible to the world. When you help other women, they'll know that you truly understand what they're going through. Emma waved at them from the playground, and both women waved back. Jennifer watched her daughter with amazement, remembering the scared little girl who had asked if they could stay in this beautiful place. Now Emma was confident, happy, and secure in a way that Jennifer had never imagined possible. There's something else, Victoria said quietly. I've been in touch with Eleanor Blackstone, the woman who helped me all those years ago. She's 93 now, but she still contributes to causes she believes in. She's offered to provide the initial funding for the foundation. Jennifer felt tears welling up in her eyes. She doesn't even know me. She knows about you, Victoria corrected. She believes in the same thing we do. That everyone deserves a chance to build a better life, and that sometimes all it takes is someone willing to believe in them. Jennifer thought about all the women she had met during her time on the streets. Brilliant and capable people who had been ground down by circumstances beyond their control. She thought about the mothers who had to choose between keeping their children fed and keeping them safe. She thought about the fear and hopelessness that had consumed her own life just months ago. When would I start? Jennifer asked. Victoria grinned. I was hoping you'd say that. The university program begins next month, and we can start setting up the foundation office immediately. Emma's school has an excellent after-school program, so she'll be taken care of while you're in classes. Jennifer nodded, feeling a surge of excitement and determination. I want to do this. I want to help other women the way you helped me. Then let's change some lives, Victoria said, extending her hand for a handshake that felt like a promise as they shook hands. Jennifer realized that her transformation was complete. She was no longer the broken woman who had hidden under a bus stop shelter. She was Jennifer Martinez, future executive director of the Hamilton Foundation for Women's Independence, and she was ready to help other women discover their own strength and potential. 2 years later, Jennifer Martinez stood at the podium of the Hamilton Foundation's newly opened headquarters, looking out at an audience of over 500 people gathered for the foundation's second annual gala. The building around them buzzed with activity as formerly homeless women worked as event coordinators, administrative assistants, and program managers. The foundation had helped over 2,000 women transition to independence, and the success stories filled Jennifer with pride every single day. 3 years ago, Jennifer began, her voice steady and confident. I was sitting under a bus stop shelter in the rain, holding my daughter and wondering if we would survive the night. Tonight, I stand before you as the executive director of an organization that has helped thousands of women and children find their way back to hope. In the audience, Victoria Hamilton wiped away a tear as she watched the woman she had rescued transform into a powerful advocate for change. Beside her sat 95-year-old Eleanor Blackstone, who had insisted on attending despite her advanced age. The three women represented a chain of kindness that had stretched across decades and touched countless lives. Emma, now 6 years old and radiantly confident, sat in the front row with her best friend from school. She wore a beautiful dress and watched her mother with obvious pride, whispering to her friend about how her mommy helped other mommies find homes and jobs. The Hamilton Foundation operates on a simple principle, Jennifer continued. Every person has the potential for greatness regardless of their current circumstances. Sometimes all they need is someone to believe in them and provide the tools for success. The Foundation's programs had expanded far beyond what Jennifer and Victoria Uzaria had originally envisioned. They now offered job training in everything from computer skills to culinary arts, provided childcare during training sessions, and maintained a network of affordable housing options for women transitioning out of homelessness. Most importantly, they offered mentorship programs that paired successful women with those just beginning their journey to independence. I want to tell you about Maria Santos, Jennifer said, gesturing to a young woman sitting at one of the front tables. Maria, came to us 8 months ago with her twin boys, sleeping in her car after losing her job during the pandemic. Tonight she's here as our newest program coordinator, having just graduated from our business administration training program. The audience applauded as Maria stood and waved, her face glowing with pride and accomplishment. Or consider Patricia Williams, Jennifer continued, who was living in a shelter when she heard about our culinary training program. She's now the head chef at one of the city's most popular restaurants and has hired 3 other foundation graduates to work in her kitchen. Victoria felt a familiar surge of satisfaction as she watched Jennifer command the room with natural authority. The transformation had been remarkable, but Victoria knew that the strength and compassion had always been there, waiting for the right opportunity to flourish. But tonight, Jennifer said, I want to focus on the woman who made all of this possible. Victoria Hamilton saw something in a desperate mother that I couldn't see in myself. She didn't just offer temporary help. She offered a complete transformation of how I thought about my own worth and potential. Victoria stood as the audience burst into applause, but Jennifer wasn't finished. Victoria taught me that success isn't just about building wealth or achieving personal goals. True success is about using whatever advantages you have to lift others up. She taught me that every person we help has the potential to help others in turn, creating a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond what we can imagine. The crowd rose to their feet as Jennifer invited Victoria to join her on the stage. As the 2 women embraced, Emma ran up to join them, completing the picture of a family that had been forged through kindness and mutual support. Before we end, tonight, Jennifer said, I want to announce our next expansion. The Hamilton Foundation is partnering with organizations in 12 other cities to replicate our programs nationwide. We're also launching a scholarship program that will provide full college tuition for children of our program participants. Eleanor Blackstone, despite her age, stood and applauded with remarkable energy. Victoria helped her to the stage, where the 3 generations of women stood together, representing nearly a century of women helping other women find their strength. The cycle continues, Eleanor said into the microphone, her voice still strong. Despite her years, 97 years ago, a stranger helped my mother when she was a young widow with nothing. She taught me that kindness is the most powerful force for change in the world. Victoria learned that lesson and passed it on to Jennifer. Now Jennifer is teaching it to hundreds of other women who will carry it forward to the next generation. As the evening ended and guests began to leave, Jennifer found herself standing in the foundation's main office, looking at the wall of photographs that showed their success stories. Each photo represented a woman who had found her way from desperation to hope, from survival to success. Emma tugged on her mother's dress. Mommy, are we going to help more people tomorrow? Jennifer knelt down to Emma's level, smoothing her daughter's hair. Yes, baby. We're going to help more people tomorrow, and the day after that, and every day after that, good Emma said matter-of-factly, because helping people makes them happy, and happy people make the world better. Victoria overheard the conversation and smiled, knowing that Emma was already learning the most important lesson of all. The cycle of kindness would continue, pass from one generation to the next, creating a legacy of compassion that would outlast any individual success. As they turned off the lights and prepared to leave, Jennifer reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. She had started as a victim of circumstances, but she had become something far more powerful, a force for positive change. In the world, the bus stop shelter where her transformation had begun was now just a memory, placed by a beautiful office building where miracles happened every day. And tomorrow, she would continue the work of helping other women discover that their lowest moments could become the foundation for their greatest triumphs. The rain that had once seemed like an enemy had become a symbol of renewal, washing away the old life to make room for something beautiful and new. Jennifer Martinez was no longer the woman who had hidden from the storm. She was the woman who helped others find shelter until they were strong enough to dance in the rain.